Hi. Okay, so I had to end my video because the FedEx guy uh, was in his loud truck. He did not bring me my boyfriend, and he drove away, so I guess he's not my new boyfriend. Maybe he'll be back. So another thing that I wanted to say is, so, you know, I gotta stop stalking Brian. I absolutely have to stop. And so do you. we cannot we cannot stalk these people because unless you're doing intel and trying to figure out what you're dealing with and trying to make sure that you are with a narcissist and you're with a partner who is not treating you correctly and doing shit behind your back, unless you're doing that because you need to, if you already know what you're dealing with and you know that you need to get away from the person, then I highly suggest no more stalking, leave them alone, and get them out of your life and never think about them again. But I went onto his YouTube page in the middle of the night, and he had made a video. Now I did not watch it because when you watch a video, it shows it shows the views. So I didn't, I think it only had like one view, which is probably him. So I didn't want him to suspect that I'm watching it. But the title of this video was, "This song is dedicated," let's see, how did he say it? "This song is dedicated to this rude woman who is about to go to prison for 5 years." And my feeling is, it's Shipmantha. So, I told you in a couple videos ago that Shipmantha has broken up with her fiance Sean on their Facebook pages. Actually, her Facebook page has disappeared. Now, she's not a cuckoo like Brian is with social media. She only has, I think she had 2 Facebook pages, but like one from years ago, but the current one that she's been using for the past years that I've been interacting with Brian, um, you know, she only had that one, and now her page is gone. Like, it's gone. It's disappeared. Yeah, I look up her name and you can't find her. So she has sorry, she has disappeared from social media. And then, in some other videos of me stalking him, he had said, that she's living in some motel by herself, or maybe with some other dude, who knows. Anyway, I told you some shit has gone down with her, and some shit has gone down between Brian and her. And one of his songs that I did watch from, like this whole past month. Sorry, let me get a drink. Sorry. So, okay, it's diet soda. I'm on a diet. It should be water, but whatever. In a couple of other music videos that he had made that he doesn't know that I've seen, he's talking about, I know a pretty girl and she's ruining her looks and she's ruining her life and she's going to end up dead, drugs, blah, 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 drugs. That's all Brian talks about. That's all, of course I did drugs a bajillion years ago, in college, I still drink. Actually, I've stopped drinking because that is not on my diet plan either. But I don't understand the drug world. Like, when I did drugs, it was because I was young and stupid, and everybody at that age was doing drugs. Although I didn't smoke meth. I mean, I think the hardest thing I ever did was like cocaine. I'm sure I did ecstasy, or whatever the kids call it these days. What is it called now? Oh shoot, I forgot what it's called now, but Molly, I guess. And of course, shoot, that probably did have meth in it. It probably had meth and heroin and freaking, like cleaning fluid. Who knows what it had in it. But it wasn't that I was specifically smoking meth or smoking crack or shooting heroin. I've never done any of that kind of stuff. So I don't understand it. and I never bridged the gap to become an addict. So, I mean, you know, like, I just, that just never happened. Sorry. I would say, though, that I am addicted to food. I definitely have, some psychological issues with food and have struggled with my weight my whole life. And I don't have a medical condition as to why I'm overweight. I'm overweight because I eat crap and eat too much of it. So, yes, I definitely have a food addiction. So, and I'm addicted to Brian. So, I do understand addiction in a weird sort of way because, I mean, if I wasn't addicted to Brian, I wouldn't be in this, I wouldn't even be making these videos. I'd be making cooking videos or something, I don't know. But music videos, actually. I need to start playing drums again and make those kinds of videos. So I do understand, sort of. I'm on the event horizon of understanding what addiction is about. He's really thrown me into that two part of my addiction of him, with him, for him, and also all of the drug talk that he incessantly talks about. So it's like, wow, I'm getting a crash course in drug addiction. So, I get it, but I have to say that honestly, he talks so much about it that it's kind of boring. I mean, we really don't talk much about anything. We talk about music, which I do love. I mean, you could talk about music forever, that's fine. And he's a musician, and he plays song. I mean, the excitement of our conversations involving music is wonderful. It's exactly what I'm looking for. And I hope that the guy that God has for me is a musician. That is what I like. That's what I'm drawn to. But he talks about drugs all the time. We'll even be listening to a love song, and it'll be like, oh, that's not about love, that's about drugs. I'm like, no, it's not. And then we'll get into an argument about it. He's like, oh, you just don't understand these musicians. They're so addicted to drugs that, they try to make these songs sound like love songs so that they'll sell them, but they're really about their own struggles with addiction. And, I mean, he might have a point about that. That might be true. But it's like, come on, can't we just enjoy the love song without talking about drugs? So, everybody in his life is involved in drugs somehow. Either they're on drugs currently, they're a dealer, or they're a recovering addict. And no shade to recovering addicts. God bless you for being on that journey, and please stay on it. Please don't ever get off the wagon, because you already know what kind of hell being a drug addict or alcohol, whatever, is. So please do whatever it takes to never use again. But nevertheless, his whole entire interaction with anybody except me and his mommy is all about drugs. So I think, I think a lot of his reluctancy to jump into the deep end of the pool with me and be in a relationship is because, well, there's several reasons. One, he feels bad about himself. He hates himself. They say people who hate themselves can't love anybody else. And also, he's very jealous of me. I mean, he's jealous of me, like jealous about me, with other men or whatever, and other people too. But, and all of the people in his life that I've met actually like me. And whenever we kind of talk about that, I can tell that he's jealous of that too. He's said different times in different ways, wow, everybody likes you, but they hate me, that kind of thing. So, if the people in his life really like me, and then he has problems with all those people, then now he's jealous of me about that. And then he's jealous because, and I'm not bragging, I don't want to sound like a narcissist, but for the most part, compared to him, I've really got my shit together. I mean, now I don't really. I mean, my goodness, there are a bajillion things I need to change in my own life, hence my diet. Financially, my looks, my weight, my station in life. Like I said, I need to get a drum set again and start playing drums. There's a lot of things in my life that I need to change. But compared to him, he's such a complete down and out total loser that he sees me as, several levels above him. And that's got to feel bad. And also, he's a man and he's a misogynist. So to have your woman be at a higher, level than you are, that's got to, sting a little bit. So, and then of course, too, he probably, well, he does because he said it. He's like, you're just going to end up leaving me, because if I'm already so much higher on the success level than he is, and he just can't and won't, he could, but won't get up to my level and even surpass me, he's probably thinking, oh, she's going to end up finding out who I really am, which is probably why we've had an over the phone relationship, not in person, so I can't really end up knowing who he is. Although he's wrong, because I'm a lot smarter than he thinks I am, and so much more empathetic that I do know him. Like, there's nothing at this point that I don't know about him, other than things that he does, behind my back. But I know who he is as a person. So, he's scared to death that if he gets close to me, that I'm going to end up, bailing, and I should. He even said one time, just off the cuff, and I've noticed that a lot of things that he just kind of says off the cuff, under his breath kind of things, those are real. Like, those are really what he thinks and feels when he just, nonchalantly mentions things. He said, yeah, I'm afraid to get close to you. And, what was the other word that he said? It was something about, hold on. Oh my gosh. Okay. Hopefully that'll help. Everybody's loud. It's Saturday. Oh goodness, and the little girl's upset about something. Girl, you're crying the way I feel like crying about Brian. Okay. I do. I just want to stand in the middle of a parking lot screaming and crying over my obsession and upset feelings over this man. He said, God, how did he say that? I'm afraid to get close. I think that's what he said, but it seems like he said something else, because in my mind, when he said it, it was like, oh, you are really afraid to, really be involved with me, like legitimately. He's so scared of it. So anyway, he he has this video last night on his YouTube page. This goes out to, or dedicated to, a really rude woman who's about to go to prison for the next 5 years. Now, he knows all kinds of people that probably go to prison for the next 5 years, but, feelings, I always tell you feelings are correct. So I have a feeling that it's Samantha. Now, here's the thing. Do I want her to completely depart from his life and never come back, and him to erase her from his memory? Yeah, that'd be great. I wish that he would erase her and Shelley from his memory, and that they would never interact with him ever again. And I wish that all of his drug dealing buddies, or whoever he's getting his shit from, would also disappear. Of course, that would be great. But, I don't want her to go to prison. That's just terrible. And that's the difference with who he thinks that I am and who I really am. I mean, this woman, you have to understand, She knew from the jump 5 years ago that we were in a relationship. And the reason I know is because she was on a couple of his social media sites. Now, she's not always, because the thing is, she's not in love with him. She just, actually, I do know who she's in love with because I talked to her. She's in love with some other dude named Ryan, and he was actually an actor, and he was actually a pretty decent guy. So she fucked all that up. So that's who she really wants to be with. And then, of course, she gets with this Sean guy and, was going to marry him or whatever. She don't love him either, but she does not love Brian. She's had every opportunity for 20 years to be with Brian. And, she's always with some other man. So she's not in love with him. And, so, there's that. But when she was on a couple of his social media sites way back in the day, he had written all kinds of stuff and, some videos and pictures of us. This is my girlfriend, and I don't think he said anything about us being engaged or getting married. I don't think there was anything like that publicly, just to me, for his love bombing. But he did, and of course he's told a couple of his friends who know her that we're together. And actually there's a couple, a husband and wife who is actually, no, it's complicated. Oh my God, these people, so much complication, so much chaos. Samantha's ex-husband is this guy named Lynn, and Lynn and his wife, Shirley, we've all hung out together. So, yes, I mean, shit, Mantha knows that Brian, at least at the very least of anything, of course, who knows what he tells her. He could be like, oh, I don't know, she's just some chick, whatever. But she knows at the very, very least, if she really is his friend and cares about him and how lonely he is and how, how he's never had a girlfriend, whatever, or never has a girlfriend, has had, obviously, but hasn't had one recently. She knows that I am the perfect opportunity for him to have a great woman in his life. Now, maybe he's talked shit about me and maybe she's like, oh God, she's horrible, which I don't know what he could say. I mean, what could he say? Oh, she didn't give me this great guitar quick enough. Oh, she bitches at me when I'm a complete cocksucker to her, But nevertheless, she knows that he could have been with me, and she still got him to move in with her in the middle of all of that. And she continues to still, have him around. And I'm sure, because Brian talks a lot of shit, he runs his mouth. I'm sure that he has at least once mentioned that I'm jealous of her. So wouldn't you, as a woman, we women, we're supposed to protect each other. We're all sisters on this planet. And wouldn't you, as a woman, not try to interfere with that? Wouldn't you be like, oh, how's your woman? How's your chick? How's she doing? What's going on? Even if he bitched about it, wouldn't you be like, well, why don't you try to work it out? So she's a shitty, fucking horrible person too. And I'll tell you what I feel, and my feelings are always right. I bet you that she has, I don't know if she's talked shit about me or been like, oh, get away from her. But the fact that she comes between us, I know she knows what she's doing. And I know that she probably, he's her best customer. Really, he is her best customer. And he will buy her drugs. Buy drugs from her, because that's her career, any time of day. 4:30 a.m., 4:30 p.m., it does not matter. Holidays, he's a 24-hour service. And I'm sure she knows that I don't use. So she probably has made no attempt to have him be with me because she doesn't want to lose her best customer. And she's probably purposefully interfered with us. So she's getting her karma. But do I want her to go to prison? Of course not, But, I ran that background check on her too, and I think she's got 7, documented cases against her, throughout her life since she was, like in her early 20s. So I have a feeling that she probably, she's at the lowest point in her life, and I bet you anything she got caught dealing or got caught with some shit on her. And so now I don't know for sure, and I did not watch the video, so it could be anybody that he's talking about, but I just have a feeling. So these are the kind of people that, even if she was nice to me, and even if Brian was nice to me, these are the kind of people that I would have around me if he and I really were in a legitimate relationship. And, the other narcissist term that we keep throwing around is rejection is protection. So, in my video I made just a few minutes ago before the FedEx guy came and was loud, I said that, our 5-year relationship has mostly been on the phone. And, I'm concerned with his violent behavior that he and I would end up getting into some physical altercation. And, maybe as much as it hurts my heart to not be with the man that I'm in love with, and I am madly in love with this guy. Yes, it's an addiction ship, and he just sent me something. Yes, it is an obsession, and yes, it's narcissistic, and I'm an empath, and yes, it's spiritual, and yes, whatever demons are affecting him are out to get me too. I mean, yes, the whole thing is horrible, and I need to just break free while I can. I've been fortunate. I could walk away from this man clean, like this second. We're not married. We don't live together. We don't own property. We don't own a kitty cat or a doggy. We don't have kids. We don't, actually, he doesn't really hardly know any of my friends, because that's another thing that kind of is also a red flag, is the fact that I really haven't introduced him to friends and family, because he treats me like shit so much that, if I bring him to some event, then, people are going to be like, next time I go to an event and don't have him with me, they'll be like, oh, where's your man? Then I got to explain all that. I don't want people knowing my business, even though I'm putting it out publicly here, but this is to help people who are going through the same journey. Like the people in my life, although they know a little bit and probably know more than I think they do, because they're smart too. But, I just don't want to, bring a guy around and then people ask questions about him later. And then also, and this is so mean, I feel bad saying it, but I got to speak the truth. It's evident that, it's very evident there's something wrong with him mentally, even without the drugs. He's strange. He really is. I love him. I don't care. I want to rescue him and change him and help him and bring out the wonderful man and the wonderful soul that's buried underneath all of that demonic shit that's piled on top of him, within his being. But other people, man, they would talk to him for 10 minutes and be like, dude. Now they might not be mean and say anything to me, but they might be like, whoa, this guy's weird. And then, of course, the drugs, and of course, I never know when he's going to do drugs. He could be sober 1 minute and go to the bathroom and come out high, and I don't want people. One of my friends who I have told quite a bit of things to, he said to me, he says, I mean, people, because, people are judgmental. People would question if I'm an addict too. Although as big as I am, they'd be like, well, she must not be on, she must not do the drugs enough because she's pretty fluffy. But no, seriously, like they would question, like I could never bring this guy around like my boss or coworkers. Because what if they started being like, okay, so she's involved in this guy, what is she doing? I couldn't. And I want a man that I can bring around to everyone, I want to show my man off to people and be like, yeah, this is my dude. This is my boyfriend. And eventually this is my fiance. And eventually this is my husband, I want to be proud of that. And I don't want to worry about him pissing people off and being weird and destroying relationships, because these narcissists, they love to do that. They love to separate you from the people in your life so that they can control you. And in doing that, they will fuck up relationships. I might go to the bathroom and he might tell one of my friends, he might hit on my girlfriends. He could do that. And my girlfriends would not go for that. No, seriously, in the past I've had women like that in my life, but no, the people in my life right now, they'd be like, dude, your man just hit on me. Get rid of this guy, and then he might tell something, or the guy friends that I have, he might threaten them, to say, it'd be a hot mess. So rejection is protection. And, I want to be with him, but let's be real. The man I'm in love with, the man that I want to be with every second of the day, is not this guy right now. It's the sober Brian that was completely sober, except for, beer and weed, but was completely sober. He wasn't on Suboxone yet because I got him on that. Although that messes with his anger issues too, but he's got to do something. But when he had his pill addiction, he had gotten off of it and was completely sober from that, and no meth, no hard drugs, no crack, nothing, or I don't know if he does, well, whatever, nothing, just beer and weed for about a month when we started this whole thing. And that's who I fell in love with. That's the man. And I haven't seen that man around in a long time. Brian and his demons, I think maybe they've killed him off. That's what I should be, I'm mourning and chasing after that man. And this guy is just not him. Breaks my heart. But I can't do anything about it, And I'm going to end this video here. I'm making another video about how I contacted his doctor. I'll tell you all about that. So I have tried. I have done everything other than getting in an unmarked Rapey McRaperson van, driving up in the middle of the night, busting into his garage or childhood bedroom, hog tying him, blindfolding him, putting a gag ball in his mouth so he can't scream, getting a couple dudes, because he's huge, I couldn't do it by myself, getting a couple of dudes to kidnap him, throw him into the unmarked Rapey McRaperson van, and driving him to a rehab and making them lock him down for a month, and where he can't leave and he can't have visitors and he can't have his phone for a month, and get him completely sober. Other than that, plan, there's nothing I can do. There's just nothing I could do other than just, bounce. Breaks my heart. It really tears me up. And I'm surprised that I never cry in these videos. I've gotten a little choked up, but I never cry in these videos, and you're probably wondering why I don't, but I'm all cried out. He has drained every tear and every drop of love from my essence that, now I can tell all these stories. I've cried myself to sleep many nights. And I would get so triggered, when I saw that video. Oh, by the way, by that video. So this morning I woke up and I thought, well, I'm really curious as to who this rude woman is that's going to prison. I was going to watch the video and he had erased it. And here's another reason why I think that it was Shipmantha that he was talking about, because he's made some other kind of mean videos about her, and he'll make them and then he'll immediately erase them. But then other mean videos about other people or whatever, and then all that shit that he talked about me on his Facebook page, he doesn't erase that. He keeps that there. So he was probably worried that she or somebody that knows her would see that and tell her, and he doesn't want to upset her. He doesn't mind upsetting me and destroying me, but he's so careful about not hurting her. And she's a raging narcissist too, and she's hurt him, and she will continue to hurt him. But, whatever. I mean, he's just a customer to her. But I understand it. We love who we love. You can't choose who you love. If I could, I would choose a dude that's the complete opposite of this guy, except a musician. I definitely want one of those. So if you know anybody, let me know. Okay, get away from that narcissist. It's just one thing after another. And even if it's good for a second, even if it's good for a year, it's always going to be bad again. Always. The cycle is just repetitive. It's going to, if you're at the top now, you're going to be at the bottom soon with these people. Like, it just won't end. So anyway, okay. Have a good weekend. Have a narcissist-free weekend. Bye.